Hello, everyone. My name is Vicky, and my job is teaching people how to get the most out of their Office 365 software. Today, I'll be presenting a course on taking your Outlook 365 to the next level. This lesson is pre recorded in order to give you the best experience, but please remember that your managed services provider is available to answer any questions on the topic, and they have my contact information as well if more information is needed. Please feel welcome to write your questions down and reach out to your MSP representative so we can get you the answers that you need. In this presentation, we're going to cover three topics: collaboration, productivity, and sanity savers. Since optimized productivity is a goal most of us have in common, let's start there. Most of what we're going to cover will help give your productivity a boost, but these features will get us off on a good, focused start. First up is the task list. Lots of us are probably already using this to keep track of the actions that we want to take during our business day. As an example, and for demonstration purposes, I've set up a few tasks related to my imaginary business that I might need to take action on over the course of the next few weeks. Now, the traditional way of creating these tasks is to click on a new task, input the subject, add a due date, maybe a few notes, maybe set its priority. But when you're busy multitasking, maybe on the phone with a client or a vendor, or talking to someone face to face in your office, that may be more focus than you can afford. So let's use that as our scenario. I'm on the phone with a vendor when I receive an email from my accountant stating that her business is updating their software and there's some action that I need to take. Now, I can't address it right now, but it's too important to forget, and it's too important to let it get buried in my inbox. What I can do is drag and drop the email onto the task list button. Doing so opens a new task window, but with all of the relevant information already filled in. All I have to do now is set a due date, and if I feel necessary, I can increase the priority. The next step I might want to take to keep my inbox clean is to file this email somewhere for safekeeping until I'm ready to work on the task. Using the email to create the task only opens the new task window. It doesn't actually do anything with the original email itself. As you can see, I've already created a number of inbox subfolders to help me organize my emails. I've created one for each department in my fictional company, but I don't yet have anywhere designated for emails that still need action based on the task list. So to create a new inbox subfolder, I'm going to select Inbox, right-click, and select Create New Folder. This one I'm going to title Task List Items and press Enter to save it. Now I can drag and drop that email to the designated folder. This isn't necessary for the task list item to work, but it does help keep your inbox organized as opposed to using it more as a catch-all. Moving on, we're going to get into Quick Parts. Quick Parts is a feature that saves you from having to type the same text repeatedly. If you find yourself composing the same message over and over, you can save yourself some time by creating a quick part. For this example, I've already typed up the information that I want to save as a quick part. In this case, it's directions to my fictional office. Between new employees, vendors, clients visiting us on site, advertising, this might be some information that I find myself wanting to share quite often. Having it a button click away will help save me a good bit of time. So what I'm going to do is open this message window. You do have to open the actual message window to get the Insert tab, because the Insert tab itself does not appear in the main Outlook window, only on the Compose message window. When you have that open and your message typed out, highlight with your mouse the text that you want to save. Then click on the Insert tab. Over towards the right, you will find the Quick Parts button. Click there and select Save Selection to Quick Part Gallery. Now this opens a dialog box where you can name your quick part and decide how to save it. For this one, it's automatically pulling the name directions out of the first word of the text, and that's good enough for me. If you find yourself using a lot of quick parts, you may want to organize them into different categories, which you can see in this dropdown. For now, I'll save this one to my general category. The great thing about this is that these custom messages are available in many of the Office 365 programs, including Word and Excel. So if you set it up once in any of these programs, it's then available in all of them. So click OK to save your quick part. Going back to the Quick Part button, you can now see that the selected text is saved under the name Directions. If I wanted to insert it into another message, I can open one, go to Insert, select Quick Parts, and click on Preview. There you can see that the text is ready for you in just a few clicks as opposed to a few minutes of typing. You can use the Quick Parts for more than just text, too. For instance, you could add a map to those directions. You could also include additional logos or signatures or other graphics that you wouldn't include in a standard email signature, maybe if you're working on a special project or sending something personal. You can also use it for frequently asked questions, contact information for other sites, or nearly any other short bit of information that you would appreciate having just a click or two away. Next, we're going to take a look at categories. Categories are one of the most powerful tools in the entire Outlook arsenal, and setting these up opens the door for several other features. Setting them up is quite easy. On the Home tab in the ribbon, you'll find a button called Categorize. This is where you both assign and manage your categories. Now, Outlook comes with a few categories preloaded for you, and you can use or edit the defaults or delete them all and start fresh. For this demo, I renamed the default categories for my own use as opposed to starting over. I've chosen a color for each of the departments in my imaginary company and added one more for miscellaneous messages that I might want categorized. You can manage these by selecting all categories at the bottom of the drop-down menu. If the default colors aren't enough, there is a menu of additional colors off to the side. Once you have your categories set up, they're pretty easy to use. Here I have a message from a client that I have cleverly named Robert Client. To assign him to the client category, click on that color in the Categorize dropdown. You can see that the message itself is now flagged with a yellow bar across the top, and the message in the list now has a yellow icon as well. And categories are going to continue to come into play in a couple of different ways. The first is going to be with quick steps. Quick steps are for actions that you perform frequently but don't necessarily want to happen automatically. For example, considering this client email, you wouldn't want to automatically route it to a specific folder or forward it on to another department without knowing what it is that the client needs. Quick steps will help you speed that process along once you've identified what action is needed. You can find quick steps front and center in your Home tab ribbon. It does come with a few quick steps preloaded. You can use them as they are or edit them however you choose. My personal preference is to delete them and start fresh with my own, but if you find any of the defaults useful, of course, go ahead and use them as they are or edit them to suit your needs. Our example client email is pretty obviously an IT request, so that needs to get to the right department. We can set up a quick step to help facilitate that. To create a new quick step, click on the New button here or on the Create New button in the Quick Steps window. They both have the same end result, but the menu lists are a little bit different, so I'll go with the option that's quicker, the Create New button. Let's give it a good name, Incoming IT, and choose an action. Let's have this one forwarded right to the IT department. So click To and find the right address or group in your contact list. And then let's have it move to the IT folder, selecting that one from the dropdown. When you're done adding actions, click Finish. Your new quick step should now appear in the ribbon window, and this action can now be performed with a single click. So in combination, these tools will save you a lot of time previously spent on repetitive or tedious tasks. But let's go one step further and let Outlook do some of the work for us itself via automation. By now, Outlook has been around long enough that the features developed for automation have been very intuitively and powerfully designed. We can tell Outlook to file our mail for us based on an impressive list of flexible, individualized criteria called rules. Once you set them up, Outlook does the rest all on its own. There are a couple different ways to set up rules. The Rules button is on the Home tab ribbon right next to Quick Steps. For the first example, let's use this email with the IT department weekly schedule. Make sure that message is highlighted, then go up to the Rules button. Click there and select Create Rule. On this window, there are two sections. The top is defining the conditions for the rule, and the bottom defines the action. For this, I want to address these assignments. Anything that's titled Weekly IT Assignments should go right to the IT folder without needing my review. But we don't want the date in there because it's a little too specific. So for the action, it gives me 3 common options to start with. I want these to be forwarded to the IT folder, so I'll select that. Once you've set both a condition and an action, you can click OK to save. All emails from that point forward with the words Weekly IT Assignment in the title will go to the IT folder. A pop-up window will give you the option to run the new rule on existing messages in the folder as well, so you can even file older emails by the new rule. But what if I want those emails to automatically be marked as read? Sometimes a rule needs tweaking, especially after you've used it for a little while and see it isn't quite working the way that you want it to. So let's click on Rules again and go down to Manage Rules and Alerts. Click on Change Rule, then Edit Rule Settings. The first page lists the conditions. So for this example, the conditions are good, but we want a new action. So to get to the actions, click Next. Find the box that says Mark as Read and select it. It will give you a warning that this action only works when Outlook is open, and that's fine, so I'm clicking OK. To show another angle of attack for creating rules, you can click the New Rule button on the Manage Rules window. From there, they give you a couple of shortcut options, or you can start from a blank rule. Let's choose that option for received messages. Again, the first page is the conditions. So let's use a scenario this time where I want messages with invoices attached to route to a folder called Invoices. In the top Step 1 box, I'm going to select the condition for specific words in the subject and the body, and the condition for having an attachment. In the bottom Step 2 box, I'm going to click on the highlighted phrase specific words and define what words this rule should look for. In this case, invoice. Any of those highlighted phrases will need a value set for them before you can complete the rule. To set the action, I'll click Next. In Step 1 on this screen, the actions I want are move it to the specified folder and mark it as importance. In Step 2, I'm going to click on the highlighted word importance and choose High. Then I will click on the highlighted word specified. The folder I want doesn't yet exist, so I can create one right from this screen. I could even make it a subfolder of my Finance folder by clicking first on Finance and then on New. I'm going to call this one Invoices and then click OK. Now this rule is done, so I can click Finish. All of the invoices are going to go to that folder and be marked with high importance. They need action, and they're all together in one spot. But it will only do this for messages that actually have an attachment, as opposed to just something with the word invoice in the subject or in the body of the text. As you can see, these rules are incredibly powerful, but also very customizable. It may take some planning and a little time to set them up, but once you do, the organization of your inbox practically handles itself. The majority of the emails left in your main inbox are going to be the ones that actually need your attention outside of your normal workflow. Our next topic is collaboration. In terms of Outlook, collaboration is all about efficiently sharing the information your business needs in order to have everyone in the right place at the right time. Much like the task list, the calendar is an Outlook feature most of us are probably quite familiar with. It's a wonderful, detailed tool that lets you organize your day. But we can go deeper with calendar sharing. Calendar sharing allows you to share the details of your day with anyone, not just Outlook users. This can actually be synced with other calendar software as well. For today's demo, we're going to stay within the Outlook suite, but it is a nice feature to have if, say, you or a family member relies on an Apple or Google product for their scheduling on a personal mobile device. On the calendar screen, on the Home tab ribbon, you'll find a button marked Share Calendar. Click there and select your calendar. This takes you to the Permissions tab of your calendar properties. Here, you can grant permissions for your calendar. Click on Add and then enter an email address or select one from your contacts. For this example, I'm going to grant permissions to my office manager, Dorothy. I'll double-click her name to add her, or click the Add button, then click OK. I now have the choice to give her the ability to view my calendar or the ability to edit it. Having an additional person with the ability to edit your calendar can come in handy if you have an assistant or someone in a similar role who helps you schedule your meetings and events. Just keep in mind that anyone who has permission to add events to your calendar also has the ability to delete them. So only give those permissions to people who truly need them, who are trustworthy. Now, let's say that I also want access to Dorothy's calendar. Next to the Share Calendar button is an option to add calendar. At the bottom, click Add Shared Calendar. Select the person whose calendar you wish to add. If they've already shared it with you before, or if the calendar is public, it will automatically grant you access. If not, a dialog box will pop up asking if you want to request permission. Click Yes, and an email will be sent to that individual requesting permission to view their calendar. They can also grant you permission to edit as well. Now let's say you have a large team and it's time for a meeting. Having everyone's calendar all in one would be information overload and not a great use of anyone's time. What you can use instead is the scheduling assistant. Select New Meeting from the home ribbon and click on Scheduling Assistant. This is a powerful feature that allows you to see whether members of your team are available, busy, off-site, or off work at any given time. It will give you suggestions on the best time to schedule a meeting with everyone, and will even make second best suggestions if there's no time when everyone's available. To use this tool, click on Add Attendees. You can choose who must be there and whose attendance is optional. This gives the scheduling assistant the most information to work with when choosing the best meeting time. Now, unfortunately, since this is a fictional company, my fictional employees don't have schedules. But you can see that the calendar does show them as unavailable to me based on the information given. If they were off-site or otherwise unavailable but at work, you could tell by the colors in the legend along the bottom. And the modules along the right show the suggested meeting times as well as available rooms if you have a conference room schedule active within your enterprise. Lastly, what do you do when you have employees in multiple time zones? If you're me, until recently, you had a little color-coded map of the United States somewhere on your desk that showed different time zones and then did the math from there. But there's a more elegant way thanks to Outlook. To add additional time zones to your calendar, go to File, then Options, then Calendar. Scroll down until you see Time Zones. Here you can set up to 2 additional time zones that will show within your calendar view. I'll name the first one Home, since that's my default here in the Eastern Time Zone. Then I'll add 2 more locations where we might have an office or a number of clients, and I might need to know what time it is there when deciding if it's okay to call them. I'll add Seattle and, say, Tokyo, and label them as such. Now, when I look at days or weeks in my calendar, I can see what the local time is for me and what time it is for my business partners. If I'm having a meeting at 9 a.m. Eastern, I'm probably not going to want to ask a business partner in Seattle to join in. That's useful information to have on hand. And now, on to our last category, sanity savers. These are just a couple of quick tricks that I personally like to use to maximize my time and organization. First up are @mentions. For those who are very fluent in social media, @mentions have been the go-to for multiple social media platforms to get someone's attention. It tags them so they get an alert that their presence is specifically requested somewhere. This feature has also been built into Outlook now, and it is tremendously handy, especially if you are thinking as you type, or if the list of people on the email is too long to search through and confirm that your target is even on the email chain. You can add a new person to a conversation and alert them that their input is important by using an @mention. To use this feature, in the text body, just type the @symbol. It will then give you a drop-down list of names from your contacts. The more you type, the more refined the list becomes. Once you select the person's name by clicking on it, their name becomes highlighted in the text with the @symbol next to it. Their email address also gets added to the conversation automatically. And what's very useful is that the message itself gets flagged in their inbox. I have an example here that I've sent to myself so you can see what it looks like when someone includes you as an @mention. As you can see, the @symbol pops up next to the message in the list, so you know someone is trying to get your attention within. That's pretty neat. Speaking of long email chains where you have no idea who is and isn't getting the message, Outlook has an ignore button. It's one of my favorite buttons in all of Outlook and is the perfect counter to those times when people are abusing the reply all feature and you wish you could escape the conversation. Now you can. Clicking the ignore button will make all of the rest of messages in that conversation go straight to the trash. Just make sure you really didn't need to read any of that before sending it there. Last but not least, the ultimate time saver for the multitasking champion. If you need to start a new email, task, meeting, or contact fast, and you don't have time to navigate a whole screen worth of buttons, you can right-click on the tray icon for Outlook and start a new item right there. The 5 most time-sensitive tasks are at your fingertips, ready for you before you forget what it was that you were thinking about or get distracted by something else. It doesn't get any quicker than that. And with that, we conclude this presentation. These tools and tricks are ready for you to put them to good use and reclaim some of your valuable time while getting the most out of your Outlook 365 software. Keep an eye out for more in our series on Office 365 and how to maximize your time and effort. Thanks for watching. Have a great and productive day.